So you want to talk about your favorite anime on YouTube, but you don't know how to talk about it. You don't know how to get the most amount of clicks on the video. Don't worry, there are there are 4 different kinds of easy anime videos to make that anybody can do. From ones where if your editing skills are good enough, nobody will notice you're speaking absolute bull, to ones where you can just talk over the scenes of the anime without any editing and get millions of views. So let's start with the most popular and common type of anime video, the anime explained video. These videos are, as the name suggests, explain the show. Literally. They literally explain and recount the entire show to you in one long video. They are probably the most common type of anime video where a nice person, after reading a new series, decided to share it with the world. And to do that, they just summarize the entire story in either 45 minutes or 3 hours. There is no in between. These videos are perfect for lazy people who want to read a story but don't actually want to read the story, so instead, they just wait for someone else to read it and do it for them. Now, to actually create these, one needs to both put in a lot of effort and a minimal amount of effort at the same time. In order to make a good anime explained video, one must read the entire story that they are explaining, either until the end of the story or until the point that the story has reached at that point. So if you want to cover something like Fire Punch, you are going to have to read every single chapter there is. However, if you want to make a Kagurabachi explained video, you can finish it at any point and just say that you finished it when you started working on the video. When did you actually start on the video? Nobody knows. Just say that you have been working on it for multiple months. However, for good news, that's the hardest part of making this video. Actually editing the video, one barely has to do any actual editing. You first find perfectly legal sites that have the entire series for download, and then all you have to do is slowly pan the manga panel up the slide, and maybe have some different music for different sections. And if you're feeling a bit spicy, you can add sound effects. Really though, it depends on the length of the video. If you manage to condense it into only 40 minutes, then it is expected that you edit it a bit more. But if you suck at summarizing and made a script that is 25 pages long, you can get away with barely editing the video. People won't really notice anyway, because watching a 4-hour long video requires a level of autism that many people have yet to unlock. Also, since you are summarizing a story, you don't need to apply any kind of critical thinking skills to what you are saying. Literally just read off the page and you will get a fantastic video. Also, you can make a shit ton of money doing this, as it doesn't require brain cells. You can just churn these videos out every second day, really. Though you will be blatantly violating copyright law, because this is definitely not fair use. However, for your brand, people will soon start to see you as someone who just recaps a series instead of actually explaining it. And that leads us to our next kind of anime video, actual explainer vids. Have you ever watched a series and after you finished it, you had no idea what you even watched? Or maybe you are a JJK fan and you just don't have any kind of reading comprehension? Well, these are the perfect videos for you. In these videos, you just explain what happened in the story or what it actually meant. So if the story or a specific section was really confusing, you are the person that is going to be the one to explain the story. You have to not just recount the story, but explain it a bit better. You have to go a layer deeper in comprehension in this one, because you are the one explaining it to everyone else who had no idea what even happened. The good thing is that these videos are just as easy to make as the previous ones. Honestly, more so, because these videos can be for either an entire series or a single episodes if it is popular enough, meaning they can be extremely short. So for editing, you can usually get away with basic B-roll of the anime or manga you are talking about, or if you're brave enough, just use your own face and talk about it directly to a camera. Another benefit is that the length of these videos can be as long as you want them to be. They can be the length of a YouTube short, or they can be a 30-minute deep dive into the location of Freddy Fazbear's asshole. Really, it is up to you. You also don't have to diversify at all for this type. You can focus entirely on a single series, preferably something extremely popular and clickbaity like One Piece or JJK, as usually the fans of these series need the most help understanding what they are the biggest fans of. And you don't even need to wait for the new episodes to come out before you can make a new video. As long as it is related to the anime you dedicate your channel to, you can make 50 videos about the same fucking topic. Go cool with that. And because you can make tons of videos non-stop, that means that the money never stops either. Now for the downsides. It can be very hard to branch out into different topics apart from your established content, as you've already decided to focus on one. If you just make a one-off explainer video for an entire series that nobody knows about, then you'd probably be fine. But if you focus entirely on a single shonen, it can be difficult for you to make videos on different series, sometimes even from the same magazine. You also do need a minimum amount of reading comprehension to make this content, because if you don't have enough, you'll devolve into a generic explainer creator. You also can't really explain your own feelings for this show that much, as to do that, you would need to become an anime reviewer. This is the next level down and another deeper step into actual reading comprehension. Funnily enough though, this is probably the most common type of content for most YouTubers, and is one of the most versatile. You can make all sorts of content about anime under the anime review tag. Firstly, you can, well, review an anime. You watch the series, make a video about your thoughts and opinions, and post that. You could also watch multiple series in a specific genre and review them individually or rank them on a tier list. You can also set yourself a challenge to watch a specific show from your audience, with varying degrees of quality. The sky is the limit for anime review content, and you can be as creative as you wish, honestly. You don't even have to really review the series you like for these videos. You can just rant on and 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 on how terrible they are. I never said the reviews had to be good. Now for editing. Here you might want to put in a bit more effort than the rest to stand out. Since review content is one of the easiest types of content to produce, you are going to have to put a bit more effort into your video, rather than just talking to a camera or using sliding images of the manga panels. You want to give people a reason to watch your video rather than just looking at the score on Mao, so you will probably need to get some actual editing skills to disguise the video. And above all else, this video probably needs the best thumbnail possible. Since you are going into an already saturated market, you will need to have the highest quality thumbnail of all time. Doing your face in the cover of the book will simply not do. Now, I can't give you the best advice on how to make thumbnails, but I will try to give some advice, because if you don't make a good one, your channel will very much suffer. You need to straddle the line between straight up clickbait and honesty. And honestly, just watch this Veritasium video. It actually helped me a lot when making my thumbnails. Now for the actual content of the video. Either you can give a more in-depth look into the series, or you can make the editing a high enough quality that people will just ignore your shit takes, or you can be so funny that people don't come for the reviews, they come because you're an awesome person. Though a good thing is that the quality of the review could really vary as much as you like. You can either give multiple in-depth reasons why a specific anime is an underrated masterpiece where it needs to be given even more recognition, or you can just rant and say the show is bad because it is bad. And most of the time, people won't really notice the difference. Honestly, you'll get more views from just ranting because rage bait is the best way to get views. But it's not the best way to get an audience that truly appreciates and loves your content. For that, you actually need to put your head forward and actually make a good critical analysis. This is the hardest level of anime video to make, with it being the hardest to actually get views and also make a good video. Firstly, you really need to understand the series you are watching. You need to read into the story to a much deeper level than what most people will ever read into it. It can't just be, oh look, this character is sad because their parents died. You actually need to first recognize that, but then relate that to cause and effect and how that affects us as an audience. Truthfully, you need to have done really well in English class to be able to do this type of video well. What you need to do is, instead of just describing or explaining, you need to analyze and evaluate the show. This means, instead of just describing what happens in the show and why, you need to look a layer deeper. You need to look at its effect and impact and identify many underlying features of the story than most people even reading it will not pick up on. Because the best reaction you can get out of doing a critical analysis from your audience is, holy shit, I had never thought about that. Now for the actual video, the length can be quite dependent on what you want to do. If you only want to explore a single aspect of a character or make a very, very quick overview of the series, you will want to only give it 10 or 15 minutes, at most 30. Or if you want to explore the entire show, a deep dive, you will need to spend a quite long time on it. But here, the difference on videos can also be extreme. A deep dive video can be 45 minutes, as well as 5 hours. However, just because a video is extremely long, that doesn't make it a really good analysis. And just because a video is only 10 minutes, that doesn't make it terrible either. The most important thing above all else you have to be in your video is be concise. You do not want to drag out the video or a point for a long time, as this will bore your viewers. The best way to make a critical analysis is to be qualitative, not quantitative. And just constantly droning on and on and on and on and on and on is not a good video. And probably the best way to actually make this kind of video is to follow a traditional essay structure, mixed with a bit of YouTube discursive writing. So for essay structures, it's probably best to follow a structure like Pixiv, this is what we were taught in Australia, or a basic block essay writing. And make absolutely sure you are using real evidence for your content. If you are arguing for a certain character's sexual orientation, you must use real evidence, because you will not convince people based on just the vibes. That is not a critical analysis, that's just your opinion. You want to prove without a shadow of a doubt that you are correct in these arguments. And one final part of critical analysis you should avoid doing is recounting the story. This is an analysis, not a recap. The only times you should be recounting the story in critical analysis is in specific circumstances, such as when nobody even knows about the series you're talking about, or if you need to specify a scene for evidence. It can also help to make the video more engaging as you tell the story along, but as a general rule, you should avoid recounts. For the actual editing of the video, however, since you have so much brain in the video, this one can also get away with lower quality editing. Though if you are going to spend over 3 months to create a new video, make damn sure it's a good essay. Or if it's not a good essay, make damn sure the editing is good. Now go, my children. Whether you want to make the 50th rant about how SAO is the worst show on the planet, or make the 10,000th critical analysis of Vagabond, you now have the information to make the videos that will forever change the fuck's sake, I can't take this seriously. And the best thing about each of these videos is that you can name every single kind of what I have talked about here, X Anime Explained. It is probably the easiest thumbnail and title you could think of. Or you can just make a video about reading viewers' recommendations. Look, I never said I don't do these things. And I would like to say, I am not innocent of what I am making fun of here. I make assumptions based on just vibes in some of my videos, and I have done videos purely because I thought they'd do well. And I recognize that I should probably be taking my own advice. So I'll try my best to actually make my videos critical and actually analyze the stories I actually talk about instead of just writing them off. But the main thing when making a video is to have fun, and that's the most important part. If you make a video not for fun, then what's even the point of doing it?